Private. A private is the lowest enlisted rank in the US Army, serving as a trainee learning to follow orders and perform assigned duties. Upon enlistment, privates do not wear rank insignia and spend their time in basic combat training. After 6 months of service, they are automatically promoted to Private Second Class, and with 12 months of total service and 4 months in rank, they become eligible for promotion to Private First Class. Private Second Class. Private Second Class is the first promotion most enlisted soldiers receive after completing basic training. Soldiers at this rank are responsible for carrying out daily tasks, applying skills learned during training, and following orders from higher-ranking supervisors. Promotion to Private Second Class typically occurs after 6 months of service, with advancement to Private First Class usually following after about 12 months. Private First Class. Private First Class is the third lowest rank in the United States Army, positioned above Private Second Class and below Specialist. Soldiers at this rank are responsible for carrying out orders from commanding officers, demonstrating individual responsibility, and mastering their assigned duties. Promotion to Private First Class typically occurs automatically after 1 year of service, though soldiers with prior military training may be eligible upon enlistment. Exceptional performance or demonstrated leadership can lead to an accelerated promotion. Established in the mid-1800s, the rank originally had no chevrons or arcs until 1919. After serving as a Private First Class, soldiers typically advanced to Specialist or Corporal, with the latter requiring completion of the Basic Leader course. Specialist. A Specialist is a junior enlisted rank in the United States Army, above Private First Class and below Corporal. While not a non-commissioned officer, Specialists have leadership responsibilities, managing lower-ranked soldiers. The rank is typically earned after 2 years of service with strong performance. Many soldiers are promoted to Specialist upon enlisting, particularly those with a 4-year college degree or specialized civilian skills. While the Army generally considers ranks E4 and above as non-commissioned officers, only corporals hold formal NCO status. Specialists, however, are expected to develop expertise in their field while preparing for potential leadership roles. Corporal. As one of the oldest ranks in the United States Army, established in 1775, the rank of corporal signifies the transition from enlisted soldier to a leadership role. Positioned above Private First Class and sharing the E4 pay grade with Specialist, corporals serve as small unit leaders responsible for training, discipline, and upholding professional standards. Often regarded as the backbone of the Army, they play a crucial role in soldier development. Promotion to corporal typically requires 26 months of service, 6 months in grade, waiverable to 3, and the necessary security clearance, though unit commanders may grant accelerated promotions based on leadership potential and performance. Sergeant. The rank of sergeant marks a crucial transition from junior enlisted roles to leadership within the United States Army. Positioned above corporal and below staff sergeant, sergeants take on significant responsibilities, including leading and training soldiers, maintaining unit readiness, and overseeing equipment accountability. Promotion is competitive, requiring strong performance in marksmanship, physical fitness, education, and leadership. Eligible candidates must complete leadership training, have 36 months of service, and receive command recommendations. As key leaders, sergeants are expected to uphold professionalism and competence while shaping the soldiers under their command. Staff Sergeant. As an experienced leader, the Staff Sergeant plays a critical role in the Army's operational structure. Positioned above Sergeant at the E6 pay grade, they manage larger teams, oversee more equipment, and are responsible for developing both sergeants and junior enlisted personnel. Their expanded sphere of influence makes them essential to unit effectiveness. Promotion to Staff Sergeant requires a command recommendation, 84 months of service, 10 months in grade, and completion of the Primary Leadership Development course. Candidates must also meet education requirements, such as a high school diploma or GED. Sergeant First Class. The rank of Sergeant First Class represents a significant milestone in an Army career, signifying advanced leadership and experience. With 15 to 18 years of service, they are expected to make informed decisions that directly impact missions and soldiers' well-being. Depending on assignment, a sergeant first class may serve as a platoon sergeant or non-commissioned officer in charge, acting as the primary assistant to the platoon leader. They oversee multiple staff sergeants and ensure teams operate efficiently. Historically, the platoon sergeant has been seen as the father of the platoon. Master Sergeant. The role of Master Sergeant is one of technical leadership and operational oversight at higher echelons of command. Holding the E8 pay grade, they serve as principal advisors at the battalion level and above, offering expertise in their military occupational specialty. While they do not have the same direct leadership responsibilities as a first sergeant, master sergeants are expected to maintain the highest levels of professionalism and technical competence, ensuring mission success within their units. First sergeant. First sergeants serve as the backbone of unit leadership, ensuring the welfare, discipline, and development of soldiers under their command. Often called the top kick, they manage logistics, career progression, and disciplinary actions, ensuring unit readiness. Selection is highly competitive, with only 1% of soldiers attaining the rank. First sergeants remain in hands-on leadership roles, shaping the Army's enlisted force at the company level. Sergeant Major. Not to be confused with Sergeant Major of the Army, the Sergeant Major provides critical leadership and expertise at the staff level. Holding the E9 pay grade, they operate above the battalion level, advising officers and ensuring operational effectiveness within their assigned units. While their experience and abilities match those of a command sergeant major, their leadership influence is typically confined to the soldiers and units directly under their charge. Their role is essential in maintaining the efficiency and success of Army operations at higher command levels. Command Sergeant Major. A Command Sergeant Major is the highest-ranking enlisted leader in a colour-bearing Army unit, second only to the Sergeant Major of the Army. Selected by the Department of the Army, they represent the pinnacle of enlisted leadership and professionalism. They enforce policies and standards for training, performance, appearance, and conduct while advising commanders and staff on enlisted matters. With extensive experience, they operate independently, offering wisdom, stability, and unwavering commitment to the mission. Unlike other enlisted ranks, a Command Sergeant Major can be assigned to any billet in the Army, making them a vital advisor and leader at all levels. Sergeant Major of the Army. The Sergeant Major of the Army is the highest-ranking enlisted soldier in the United States Army, serving as the senior enlisted advisor to the Chief of Staff. This unique position is appointed to represent enlisted soldiers' concerns to officers at all levels, ensuring their voices are heard in Army leadership. Duties vary based on the Chief of Staff's priorities, but much of the role involves travelling to observe training, engage with soldiers, and address quality-of-life issues. The Sergeant Major of the Army holds a special pay grade above E9 and is accorded protocol privileges above Lieutenant Generals, making them a key figure in Army leadership. Warrant Officer 1. Warrant Officer 1 is the first and lowest warrant officer rank in the United States Army, requiring both leadership skills and technical expertise. Enlisted soldiers must submit a written application, which is reviewed and recommended by commanders before final appointment by the Secretary of the Army. Warrant officers fill roles that require the authority of a commissioned officer, but demand specialized technical knowledge that traditional officers may not have. Chief Warrant Officer 2. Chief Warrant Officer 2 is the second warrant officer rank in the United States Army. As intermediate-level experts, they combine technical mastery with tactical leadership, filling roles that require the authority of a commissioned officer while leveraging specialized expertise. They serve at the battalion level, leading and advising in their field while bridging the gap between enlisted personnel and commissioned officers. Chief Warrant Officer 3. Chief Warrant Officer 3 is the third warrant officer rank in the United States Army. As advanced level experts, they provide guidance, supervision, and support to subordinates, ensuring mission success. They typically operate at levels ranging from team to brigade, offering expert leadership in both technical and tactical operations. Chief Warrant Officer 4. Chief Warrant Officer 4 is the fourth warrant officer rank in the United States Army. As senior-level experts, they serve as mentors to junior warrant officers and advise commanders on warrant officer-related matters. They typically operate at battalion, brigade, division, corps, and higher echelons, playing a key role in mission planning and execution at strategic levels. Chief Warrant Officer 5. Chief Warrant Officer 5 is the rarest and highest warrant officer rank in the United States Army, awarded to those demonstrating unmatched technical and tactical expertise, strong leadership, and a deep understanding of joint operations and innovation. They are the most experienced leaders in the Warrant Officer Corps, serving at brigade level and above. They fulfill all duties of Chief Warrant Officer 4s while also advising senior Army leaders on improving operations and integrating Army capabilities within the broader U.S. military. Second Lieutenant. Positioned at the entry level, a second lieutenant commands a platoon of 15 to 50 soldiers or work as a staff officer, gaining essential leadership experience. All second lieutenants rotate between these roles, but commanding a platoon is the key leadership position required for promotion. They typically serve in this capacity for 12 to 24 months before advancing to first lieutenant. As a platoon leader, a second lieutenant works closely with senior non-commissioned officers, including a platoon sergeant and squad leaders, who help execute orders and training plans. Their primary role is to plan, supervise, and lead. First lieutenant, serving as either a platoon leader, commanding 15 to 50 soldiers, or a staff officer, first lieutenants continue to develop their tactical expertise and leadership skills. While both roles are essential, leading a platoon is the key requirement for promotion to captain and the primary purpose of an officer's commission. First lieutenants typically gain platoon leadership experience before transitioning to staff roles, where they prepare for higher responsibilities. Captain. A captain is a commissioned officer responsible for commanding a company-sized unit of approximately 150 soldiers. This role requires a balance of strategic planning, training, and mission execution, making captains the final authority on all aspects of their unit's operations. They work closely with the first sergeant to enforce standards, develop soldiers, and ensure the company is properly resourced for its missions. Beyond company command, captains may serve as staff officers at higher levels, such as battalions or brigades, contributing to planning, logistics, and overall unit operations. They also attend professional development courses or pursue advanced education to prepare for greater leadership responsibilities as they progress in rank. Major. Holding the 04 rank, they primarily serve as staff officers at the battalion, 800 soldiers, or brigade, 5,000 soldiers level, ensuring the effective coordination of military operations. Majors often hold key leadership positions such as Operations Officer, S3, or Executive Officer, XO, using their experience from previous roles as platoon leaders, company commanders, and staff officers to support mission success. They play a critical role in bridging the needs of smaller units with the capabilities of higher command. Additionally, majors may attend graduate school or professional development courses sponsored by the Army. Lieutenant Colonel. As leaders of battalions, lieutenant colonels command one of the most influential levels of organization within the Army. Holding the rank of 05, they are appointed by the Secretary of the Army and primarily serve as commanders of battalion-sized units or as staff officers at the brigade level and above, assisting in planning, resourcing, and operational oversight. As battalion commanders, lieutenant colonels are the final authority on all battalion matters, responsible for everything the unit does or fails to do. They are supported by a command sergeant major who advises and assists in leadership and discipline. Unlike company grade officers who lead soldiers directly, lieutenant colonels oversee and coordinate operations across their battalion, ensuring all subordinate units function cohesively to accomplish mission objectives. Colonel. One of the most prestigious ranks in the Army, a colonel serves as the senior leader of brigade-sized units, around 5,000 soldiers, or in specialized commands such as law or medical units. Holding the rank of 06, colonels have spent years mastering leadership at the tactical and operational levels. Their ability to command, strategize, and oversee large-scale operations distinguishes them as the highest-ranking field-grade officers. Brigadier General. A brigadier general is the first of the general officer ranks, marking an officer's transition from field-grade leadership to strategic command. Holding the rank of 07, they serve as deputy commanders of brigade or division-sized units, approximately 5,000 to 14,000 soldiers, working directly under major generals to gain experience in high-level leadership and strategic decision-making. Achieving the rank of brigadier general is an extremely selective process, reserved for those with exceptional experience, expertise, and leadership abilities, marking a significant transition into the highest levels of Army command. Major General. A Major General takes command at one of the highest levels of leadership in the Army, overseeing division-sized units of approximately 14,000 soldiers. Holding the rank of 08, they are responsible for both military operations and the post where their division is based. By the time an officer reaches this rank, they have gained significant experience as a general officer, having previously served as a brigadier general. Commanding at this level is both a high honor and a tremendous responsibility, requiring exceptional leadership, strategic vision, and operational expertise. Lieutenant General. Leading some of the most critical commands in the Army, a Lieutenant General serves as a senior officer at the 09 rank. They primarily command higher-level organizations such as combatant commands or serve in major staff roles in commands like TRADOC or Forces Command. Some hold specialized roles, such as Superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point. Officers attain this rank by being appointed to positions that require it, but they only retain the rank while serving in those roles. Upon leaving their position, they either revert to their previous general officer rank, usually Major General, or, in rare cases, advance to full general. Since many lieutenant generals conclude their careers in these high-ranking roles, the position is often considered a terminal assignment. General. As the highest-ranking general officer in active service, a general holds the 010 rank and commands at the most senior levels of the Army. Appointed by the President with recommendations from the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Army, generals are often referred to as 4 stars due to the 4 stars on their uniform. They command at the highest levels, leading major organizations such as TRADOC, Forces Command, or serving as the Chief of Staff of the Army and on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. General of the Army. The rarest and most prestigious rank in the United States Army. General of the Army is a 5-star general officer rank, reserved for wartime leadership. Equivalent to a field marshal in other nations, it is the highest rank in the Army, above a 4-star general. This position is only awarded when the Commander-in-Chief deems it necessary. It signifies unmatched authority, with its holders responsible for overseeing Army-wide strategy and deployment in times of national crisis. The rank was first introduced in 1866 and held by Ulysses S. Grant, William Tecumseh Sherman, and Philip Sheridan. It was revived during World War II as a modern 5-star rank, awarded to George C. Marshall, Douglas MacArthur, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Henry H. Arnold, and later Omar Bradley in 1950. While no officer has held this rank since, it remains a symbol of the Army's highest leadership and strategic responsibility. Private. Private is the lowest enlisted rank in the United States Marine Corps, positioned below Private First Class. New Marines at this rank are often called boots and wear no uniform insignia, earning the nickname Slick Sleeve. Most Marines hold this rank for about 6 months before promotion to Private First Class. Private First Class. Private First Class is the second lowest enlisted rank, positioned above Private and below Lance Corporal. It was established on June 3, 1916, to align with the Army's Private First Class rank since Marine units often served alongside Army units. While they were originally equivalent, the Marine Corps Private First Class, an E2 rank, is now 1 grade lower than the Army's Private First Class E3 rank. Marines are eligible for promotion to Lance Corporal after 8 months as a private first class and 9 months total time in service, provided they maintain satisfactory performance as determined by their commander. Lance Corporal. Lance Corporal is the third enlisted rank, positioned above private first class and below corporal. It is the most common rank and the highest a Marine can hold without becoming a non-commissioned officer. Promotion is based on time in service, time in grade, and conduct, but advancement to corporal is competitive and depends on a Marine's service record. Limited positions in each military occupational specialty can delay promotion even if a Marine qualifies. The rank dates back to the 1830s during the Indian Wars, when Marines were temporarily promoted but paid at their previous rank. Corporal. Corporal is the fourth enlisted rank, positioned above Lance Corporal and below Sergeant. It is the lowest non-commissioned officer rank and comes with increased responsibility and leadership duties. In infantry units, corporals serve as fire team leaders, leading a 4-Marine team or weapons crew. However, Lance Corporals often fill this role, while Corporals act as squad leaders, a role typically held by a sergeant. In support units, Corporals take on supervisory roles, overseeing lower-ranking Marines under the leadership of sergeants or staff non-commissioned officers. The Marine Corps emphasises small unit leadership, often giving corporals more responsibility than their Army counterparts. Sergeant. Often called the backbone of the Marine Corps, sergeants carry significant leadership responsibilities. It is the 5th enlisted rank in the US Marines and the lowest sergeant rank. In infantry units, they serve as squad leaders in rifle or weapons platoons or as platoon guides, assisting the platoon sergeant. Promotion to sergeant marks a shift from a score-based system to a fitness report evaluation, assessing leadership, proficiency, and overall performance. The Marine Corps formally separated its sergeant rank structure from the Army in 1942, adapting for amphibious warfare, reinforcing sergeants as squad leaders, and introducing the 3 fire team structure, each led by a corporal. Staff Sergeant. Staff Sergeant is positioned above Sergeant and below Gunnery Sergeant. This rank is typically achieved after 6 years of service and marks a transition into the Staff Non-Commissioned Officer tier. Staff Sergeants often serve as platoon sergeants or section leaders in weapons platoons and are typically the lowest enlisted rank that reports directly to an officer. Gunnery Sergeant. Gunnery sergeants, often called gunny, coordinate operations, logistics, and training for a company-sized unit, which is approximately 180 Marines. They serve as tactical advisors in combat, supporting command post operations, and oversee training, administration, and discipline in garrison. Marines must serve 3 years as a staff sergeant, 6 years total service, and complete enlisted professional military education to be promotion eligible. Annual selection considers duties, awards, and evaluations, with preference for drill instructors, recruiters, and embassy security guards. Master Sergeant. Master Sergeant is the 8th enlisted rank in the United States Marine Corps, positioned above Gunnery Sergeant and below Master Gunnery Sergeant. Sharing the E8 pay grade with First Sergeant, this rank focuses on technical leadership within a Marine's military occupational specialty. Master Sergeants serve as operations chiefs at higher unit levels, overseeing logistics, maintenance, and leadership roles in combat support and aviation. They may be addressed formally as Master Sergeant or informally as Top, depending on MOS traditions. First Sergeant. First Sergeant is a senior enlisted rank in the United States Marine Corps. While it shares the E8 pay grade with Master Sergeant, its role is distinct. Unlike Master Sergeant, First Sergeant is a leadership-focused rank, serving as the senior enlisted advisor to a company or battery commander. Their responsibilities include discipline, training, and morale. Unlike in the Army, Marines must choose between the leadership-focused First Sergeant track or the technical Master Sergeant track, with promotions based on experience and the needs of the Marine Corps. First Sergeants may later become Sergeants Major, while Master Sergeants advance to Master Gunnery Sergeant. Master Gunnery Sergeant. the highest technical enlisted rank. Master Gunnery Sergeants serve as operations leaders in infantry, artillery, aviation, and logistics. They oversee maintenance, supply, avionics, and ordnance operations at higher echelons, such as Marine aircraft groups and Marine air wings. Marines advancing from Gunnery Sergeant must choose between the Technical Master Gunnery Sergeant track or the leadership-focused Sergeant Major track. While they hold different roles, Master Gunnery Sergeants may assume some duties of a Sergeant Major, though the reverse is rare. Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major is the highest leadership-focused enlisted rank, ranking above First Sergeant and equal in pay grade to Master Gunnery Sergeant. Sergeant Major serve as senior enlisted advisors at the battalion, squadron, or higher levels, overseeing discipline, morale, and enlisted matters. Unlike Master Gunnery Sergeants, they focus on general leadership rather than technical expertise. To promote to Sergeant Major, a Marine must have spent a minimum of 3 years as a First Sergeant and 10 years overall in the Corps, and have completed a certain level of enlisted professional military education. Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. The Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps is the highest enlisted billet in the Marine Corps, designated as a special pay grade above E9. This Marine serves as the senior enlisted advisor to the Commandant of the Marine Corps, providing counsel on enlisted discipline, morale, and training. While this is the highest-ranking enlisted position in the Marine Corps, an enlisted Marine serving as the senior enlisted advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff takes precedence in rank. The position was established in 1957 under Brigadier General James P. Berkeley, making the Marine Corps the first branch of the U.S. military to create a senior enlisted advisory position. Since then, the role has evolved into a 4-year advisory term, though the tenure is at the discretion of the Commandant of the Marine Corps. Warrant Officers. A Chief Warrant Officer in the Marine Corps is a technical expert in their military occupational specialty with the authority of a commissioned officer. A warrant is approved by the Secretary of the Navy for a sergeant or staff non-commissioned officer to be appointed a warrant officer. Warrant officers become commissioned officers at the rank of Chief Warrant Officer 2, though they will generally serve as technical advisors, providing expertise to commands and organizations in their field. There are 3 selection paths: regular warrant officer, recruiter, and infantry weapons officer, or Marine gunner. The regular program requires 8 years of service, sergeant rank, and technical proficiency. Recruiters must be staff sergeants with military occupational specialty 8412 and a successful tour. Selected staff sergeants become warrant officers, while gunnery sergeants promote to Chief Warrant Officer 2. Marine gunners need 16 years in infantry and must hold the rank of gunnery sergeant. All new warrant officers complete training at the Warrant Officer Basic Course in Quantico, Virginia. Second Lieutenant. A second lieutenant is the entry-level commissioned officer rank in the Marine Corps, typically commanding a platoon of 16 to 44 Marines. They lead 2 or more squads, assisted by a senior non-commissioned officer. Marines who complete an ROTC program or earn a 4-year college degree, followed by officer candidate school, may be commissioned as second lieutenants upon entering the Marine Corps. In rare cases during wartime, outstanding enlisted Marines may receive a battlefield commission to second lieutenant as a reward for exceptional leadership and bravery in combat. First Lieutenant. A first lieutenant is the second junior commissioned officer rank following second lieutenant. They lead specialty platoons or serve as executive officers for larger units, such as companies. Promotion from second lieutenant is automatic after 24 months, barring disciplinary issues. First lieutenants often receive higher command responsibilities and a pay increase. Captain. A captain is a company-level commissioned officer, typically serving as a company commander, leading 62 to 190 Marines. Captains may serve as instructors at combat schools, lead special training sessions, or work as staff officers at the battalion level. Promotion from first lieutenant is based on experience, leadership, and command performance. Major. A major is the 4th officer rank in the Marine Corps, typically serving as a battalion executive officer, weapons company commander, or a staff officer at the regimental or brigade level. As career officers, majors follow a structured progression, continually learning, leading, and teaching at increasingly higher levels. Unlike the automatic promotions to second and first lieutenant, promotion to major is competitive, with 80% of captains advancing. Eligible at 9 to 11 years of service, officers must apply to a promotion board showcasing leadership and operational experience. Lieutenant Colonel. A lieutenant colonel typically commands a battalion or squadron-sized unit of 300 to 1,200 Marines, with a major as the executive officer and a sergeant major as the senior enlisted advisor. They may also serve as an executive officer for a regiment, Marine Aviation Group, Marine Expeditionary Unit, or Battalion Task Force. Lieutenant colonels often serve as principal staff officers under a colonel, acting as the Chief of Staff within a Marine Expeditionary Brigade, Marine Aircraft Wing, or Marine Logistics Group. Officers typically reach this rank after 16 to 22 years of service. Colonel. A colonel in the Marine Corps typically commands a major installation like a Marine Corps base or Marine Corps Air Station. They may also serve as a brigade executive officer or division staff officer. Marine Corps officers generally reach the rank of colonel after 16 to 18 years of service. Many colonels receive specialized training at institutions like the Army War College in Pennsylvania or the Marine Corps War College in Virginia. Brigadier General. A brigadier general in the Marine Corps typically serves as a deputy commander of a division or commands a Marine Expeditionary Brigade, which consists of up to 20,000 Marines. Promotion to brigadier general is highly selective, with only 62 Marine Corps general officers allowed on active duty by law. Candidates are screened by a promotion board of general officers, with final approval requiring nomination by the President and confirmation by the Senate. Once confirmed, officers assume a permanent general officer rank, with assignments lasting 2 to 4 years. Major General. The rank of Major General was first introduced to the Marine Corps in 1902 when Commandant Charles Hayward was specially promoted by Act of Congress. To be promoted to Major General, eligible officers are reviewed by a promotion board of general officers, with the final list going through the Service Secretary, Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary of Defense, and the President. Once nominated, the Senate must confirm the promotion. Major Generals must retire after 5 years in grade or 35 years of service. Lieutenant General. A Lieutenant General in the Marine Corps typically commands a Marine Expeditionary Force consisting of 20,000 to 45,000 Marines, or serves as a high-level staff officer at major commands or the Pentagon. Promotion to Lieutenant General is temporary and linked to specific positions. Eligible officers, holding at least the rank of Brigadier General, are nominated by the President, reviewed by the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and must be confirmed by the Senate. Lieutenant Generals must retire after 38 years of service unless promoted or reappointed. General. A general is the highest rank in the Marine Corps and is typically held by the Commandant and the Assistant Commandant. By law, the Marine Corps is limited to 2 active duty 4-star generals at any given time. 4-star rank is temporary and expires when the officer's term ends. Eligible officers, holding at least the rank of Brigadier General, are nominated by the President, reviewed by the Secretary of Defense and Service Leadership, and must be confirmed by the Senate. The standard tour for a 4-star general is 4 years. Generals must retire after 40 years of service or at age 64. Seaman Recruit. Seaman Recruit is the lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Navy, below Seaman Apprentice, formerly known as Seaman Third Class. Navy E1s have no rank insignia and are classified by their community. Seaman recruits, hospital man recruits, fireman recruits, airman recruits, and construction man recruits. The dental man recruit title was eliminated in 2005 when dental technicians merged with hospital corpsmen. Seaman recruits attend boot camp at Naval Station Great Lakes, where they undergo intensive training for 7 to 10 weeks to develop military discipline, physical fitness, and essential naval skills. Seaman Apprentice. A seaman apprentice is the second lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Navy, above seaman recruit and below seaman, formerly known as seaman second class. It should not be confused with apprentice seaman, the lowest Navy rank from 1904 to 1948. The rank's title varies by community, determining the colour of group rate marks. Seaman apprentices, general deck and administrative, wear white or navy blue stripes. Hospitalmen apprentices, medical, wear white or navy blue. Firemen apprentices, engineering and hull, wear red. Airmen apprentices, aviation, wear green. And construction men apprentices, Seabees, wear light blue. No stripes are worn on working uniforms. Sailors who complete requirements for a rating and are approved by the Bureau of Naval Personnel are designated strikers, formally addressed with their full rate and rating, while those without an assigned rating are considered undesignated or non-rates. Advancement from seaman apprentice to seaman generally requires 18 months of time in service, along with meeting performance standards and conduct requirements. Seaman. Seaman is the third lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Navy, above seaman apprentice and below petty officer third class, formerly known as seaman first class. Just like seaman apprentices, seamen also wear colour-coded group rate marks based on their career field. Sailors seeking advancement to petty officer third class must submit a promotion request every 6 months. However, competition is intense, and only the most qualified seamen will be promoted. Petty Officer Third Class. Petty Officer Third Class is the fourth lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Navy, above seaman and below Petty Officer Second Class. It is the lowest non-commissioned officer rank. Unlike lower ranks, advancement to PO3 is not automatic and requires performance evaluations, rate examinations, and available billets. Certain technical ratings allow automatic advancement after completing A-School, a training program for U.S. Navy sailors after boot camp. The advancement cycle occurs biannually, with only top scorers promoted based on available positions. Petty officers serve as both technical experts and leaders. High-year tenure policy limits PO3s to 10 years of service unless they are promoted to PO2. Those who do not advance are separated unless they hold critical qualifications or clearances. Due to these restrictions, the good conduct variation of the PO3 insignia, featuring a gold chevron, is rare and typically found only among sailors with prior military service. Petty Officer Second Class. Petty Officer Second Class is the fifth enlisted rank in the United States Navy, positioned between Petty Officer Third Class and Petty Officer First Class, and is classified as a non-commissioned officer rank, with approximately 25% of active duty enlisted sailors holding this position. Advancement to Petty Officer Second Class is based on time in service, performance evaluations, and advancement examinations, with selection cycles occurring every 6 months, though promotions are limited by available billets and awarded to top scorers. Petty Officer Second Class serve as both technical specialists and leaders, with every petty officer having a designated rating or job specialty, which forms their full title, such as Interior Communications Electrician Second Class. The Navy's final multiple score system determines advancement eligibility by evaluating performance, experience, and knowledge, requiring sailors to meet time in rate requirements, pass the advancement examination, and achieve a qualifying score. All petty officers second class wear red chevrons and service stripes until reaching 12 years of good conduct, at which point they transition to gold chevrons. This practice continues across all petty officer ranks. Petty Officer First Class. Petty Officer First Class is the sixth enlisted rank in the United States Navy, positioned between Petty Officer Second Class and Chief Petty Officer, serving as both a technical expert and a leader, often acting as a leading petty officer. Promotion requires 3 years as a Petty Officer Second Class, or 2 years with an early promote recommendation, along with a commanding officer's endorsement, a passing advancement exam score, and strong performance and conduct records. Advancement is quota-based, occurring biannually in March and September, with selection determined by Navy needs and final multiple score calculations. Under the high-year tenure policy, Petty Officers First Class must advance to Chief Petty Officer within 22 years or transition to the Fleet Reserve before full retirement at 30 years of service. While they lead divisions and mentor junior sailors, experience as a leading petty officer, particularly at sea, is a key step for advancement. Petty Officers First Class hold a designated job specialty, such as Electronics Technician First Class. Chief Petty Officer. Chief Petty Officer is the 7th enlisted rank in the United States Navy, positioned above Petty Officer First Class and below Senior Chief Petty Officer. Advancement to Chief Petty Officer differs from lower enlisted promotions, requiring time in service, superior evaluation scores, passing an advancement exam, and selection by a board of Senior and Master Chief Petty Officers. Chiefs act as leaders and mentors, overseeing training, discipline, and mission readiness, while also bridging the gap between officers and enlisted personnel. They have exclusive privileges, including access to the Chief's Mess, which is off-limits to junior enlisted and officers unless invited. Under the high-year tenure policy, Chief Petty Officers must promote to Senior Chief within 24 years or retire, while Senior and Master Chiefs may serve up to 26 and 30 years, respectively. Upon selection, new Chief Petty Officers undergo initiation, a 6-week program that prepares sailors for the rank of Chief Petty Officer. Senior Chief Petty Officer. Senior Chief Petty Officer is the 8th enlisted rank in the United States Navy, positioned above Chief Petty Officer and below Master Chief Petty Officer, and is addressed as Senior Chief, or informally as Senior. Established on June 1, 1958, alongside the rank of Master Chief, Senior Chiefs are part of the top 4% of all enlisted sailors, with only 2.5% of the Navy's enlisted force holding this rank. Unlike lower enlisted advancements, promotion to Senior Chief is based entirely on leadership performance and peer review rather than test scores, requiring 3 years as a Chief Petty Officer, superior performance evaluations, and selection by a board of Master Chief Petty Officers, which convenes annually in March. Senior Chiefs take on greater leadership responsibilities, often serving as advisors to commanding officers and mentors for junior chiefs and enlisted personnel, with their khaki uniforms distinguishing them as senior leaders. Master Chief Petty Officer. Master Chief Petty Officer is the 9th enlisted rank in the United States Navy, positioned above Senior Chief Petty Officer, representing the top 1.25% of enlisted personnel. Promotion to Master Chief requires superior performance evaluations, extensive leadership experience, and selection by a board of Master Chiefs. Master Chiefs serve as senior enlisted leaders at sea and ashore, mentoring junior enlisted personnel, chiefs, and officers while advising on force readiness and sailor welfare. At higher levels, Fleet and Force Master Chiefs serve as senior enlisted advisors for larger commands, with 15 Force Master Chiefs overseeing specialized Navy commands and 4 Fleet Master Chiefs supporting regional and global operations. Command Master Chief Petty Officer. A Command Master Chief Petty Officer is the most senior enlisted sailor in a United States Navy unit, advising the commanding officer on morale, welfare, job satisfaction, discipline, training, and mission readiness. They ensure open communication within the chain of command and uphold high professional standards. In larger units, such as U.S. Fleet Forces Command and U.S. Pacific Fleet, the roles of Fleet Master Chief Petty Officer and Force Master Chief Petty Officer provide similar leadership at broader levels, with only 4 Fleet Master Chiefs and 16 Force Master Chiefs in the Navy. The Bureau of Personnel assigns a Command Master Chief to commands with at least 250 enlisted personnel. Since 2015, the Navy has formally recognized Command Senior Chief Petty Officer as a distinct rating rather than just a billet. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy. The Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy is the highest enlisted position in the United States Navy, designated as a special pay grade above Master Chief Petty Officer. Appointed by the Chief of Naval Operations, the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy serves as the senior enlisted advisor to both the Chief of Naval Operations and the Chief of Naval Personnel, representing all enlisted sailors and advising on personnel issues. This role involves extensive travel to observe training, engage with sailors and their families, and act as a spokesperson for the enlisted force. The Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy serves a 2-year term, with the possibility of one reappointment, and holds a protocol rank above Rear Admirals. Established in 1967 in response to concerns that Navy leadership was out of touch with enlisted personnel, the position was originally called the Senior Enlisted Advisor of the Navy before being renamed on April 28, 1967. The first to hold the title was Gunner's Mate Master Chief Delbert Black, who served a 4-year term. Warrant Officers. In the United States Navy, warrant and chief warrant officers are technical specialists. Navy warrant officers serve in 30 specialties across 5 categories, drawing from senior enlisted ranks E7 through E9 with a minimum of 14 years of service. The role dates back to 1775, when the first Navy warrant officer, John Berryman, was appointed as a purser aboard the USS Andrew Doria. In 1995, the Navy eliminated the Warrant Officer 1 rank, instead appointing warrant officers directly to Chief Warrant Officer 2 as commissioned officers. However, in 2018, the rank of Warrant Officer 1 was re-established exclusively for cyber warfare specialists. The Navy briefly operated a Flying Chief Warrant Officer program from 2006 to 2011 to train pilots and naval flight officers outside the traditional officer command track. The program was discontinued after the final group of flying warrant officers joined operational squadrons. Today, the Bureau of Personnel manages all warrant officer grades, CWO2 through CWO5, based on specific billet requirements. Ensign. In the United States Navy, the rank of ensign was established in 1862, replacing the rank of passed midshipman. Ensign is a junior commissioned officer rank. Newly commissioned ensigns are assigned based on their designation as unrestricted line, or staff corps officers. Unrestricted line officers are qualified to command ships and lead combat operations, while restricted line officers specialize in fields such as engineering or aviation, limiting their command authority. Staff corps officers, on the other hand, are experts in professional fields like medicine, law, or engineering. Unrestricted line officers enter warfare communities such as surface, submarine, aviation, or special operations. Each ensign's career path is determined by their specific designator, with training tailored to their assigned specialty before entering active duty service. Surface warfare officers attend Surface Warfare Officer School before assignment to a ship, while submarine warfare officers undergo extensive nuclear power and submarine training before reporting to a submarine. Naval aviators and naval flight officers complete flight training followed by fleet replacement squadron instruction before joining operational squadrons. Lieutenant Junior Grade. Lieutenant Junior Grade is a junior commissioned officer rank in the United States Navy, ranking above ensign and below lieutenant. Promotion to Lieutenant Junior Grade follows guidelines set by the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, with all fully qualified ensigns eligible for promotion after a minimum of 2 years in the Navy. Officers at this rank typically serve as division officers on ships, leading petty officers and junior enlisted personnel. Lieutenant. In the United States Navy, the rank of lieutenant is a mid-level commissioned officer rank. Promotion to lieutenant is governed by Department of Defense policies under the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, with at least 95% of fully qualified lieutenants, junior grade, advancing after a minimum of 2 years in rank. In naval terminology, the billet of first lieutenant refers to the officer responsible for the deck department or division, depending on a ship's size. On smaller vessels with a single deck division, this role is typically filled by an ensign, while on larger ships with multiple divisions, it may be held by a lieutenant commander. On submarines and smaller Coast Guard cutters, a petty officer may serve in the first lieutenant billet. Lieutenant Commander. The rank of Lieutenant Commander was established in 1862 to designate officers commanding smaller vessels that did not require a full commander or captain. Lieutenant commanders are classified as junior officers, ranking above lieutenants and below commanders. They were the US Navy's first commissioned officer rank to be selected by a board. Promotion to lieutenant commander in the US Navy follows Defense Department policies under the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, with 80% of lieutenants advancing after at least 3 years in rank and 9 to 11 years of total commissioned service. As a key transitional rank, lieutenant commanders often serve in leadership positions aboard ships, submarines, and aviation units, bridging the gap between junior officers and senior command roles. Commander. The rank of commander is a senior grade officer rank positioned above lieutenant commander and below captain. Commander is the first rank at which Navy officers wear an embellished cap. A commander in the Navy may command a frigate, destroyer, submarine, aviation squadron, or small shore activity. An officer in the rank of commander who commands a vessel may also be referred to as captain as a courtesy title, or informally referred to as skipper. Promotion to commander is governed by Department of Defense policies under the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, with guidelines suggesting that 70% of lieutenant commanders advance after serving at least 3 years in rank and accumulating 15 to 17 years of commissioned service. However, promotion rates may vary based on defense budgets, force structure, and the specific needs of the Navy. Captain. In the United States Navy, captain is a senior officer rank that ranks above commander and below rear admiral lower half. It was the highest rank in the Navy from 1775 until 1857, when Congress established the rank of flag officer. Promotion to captain is governed by the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act, with guidelines suggesting that no more than 50% of eligible commanders advance after serving at least 3 years in rank and accumulating 21 to 23 years of commissioned service. Selection for promotion typically requires prior command experience at the O5 level, such as leading a destroyer, frigate, nuclear submarine, SEAL team, or aviation squadron. All promotions to captain require confirmation by the US Senate. All commanding officers of commissioned Navy warships and submarines are traditionally referred to as captain, regardless of actual rank. Rear Admiral Lower Half. Rear Admiral Lower Half is a 1-star flag officer rank, positioned above captain and below rear admiral. The rank was established in 1985 when the former rank of Commodore was redesignated as Rear Admiral Lower Half to align with the Navy's evolving leadership structure. Rear Admirals Lower Half typically oversee smaller commands or support larger flag-level operations. Promotion to Rear Admiral Lower Half is governed by the Defense Officer Personnel Management Act and requires nomination by the President and confirmation by the Senate. Officers typically achieve this rank through a highly competitive selection process after demonstrating exceptional leadership and command positions as captains. Rear Admirals Lower Half generally serve 3-year tours before either advancing to Rear Admiral or retiring. Rear Admiral. Rear Admiral, also known as Rear Admiral Upper Half, is a 2-star flag officer rank, ranking above Rear Admiral Lower Half and below Vice Admiral. It is the highest permanent rank during peacetime, as all higher ranks are temporary and linked to specific assignments. Rear Admirals hold senior leadership positions within the Navy and are responsible for strategic planning, fleet readiness, and operational execution. They commonly serve as commanders of carrier strike groups or expeditionary strike groups, senior leaders of major shore installations, or senior advisors to the Chief of Naval Operations and the Department of Defense. Promotion to Rear Admiral is achieved through a highly competitive selection process that requires nomination by the President and confirmation by the Senate. They typically serve 3 to 4-year tours. Rear Admirals must retire after 5 years in grade or 35 years of service unless promoted to Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral is a 3-star flag officer rank. Vice Admirals are nominated by the President from eligible officers holding the rank of Rear Admiral, Lower Half or above, based on recommendations from the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Navy, or the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The nominee must be confirmed by a majority vote in the Senate before assuming office and the rank. The standard tour length for most vice admirals is 3 years, though some positions require 4 or more years, as determined by statute. This rank is temporary, meaning officers must either be reassigned to an equivalent or higher ranking role within 60 days of vacating their position or retire. By law, vice admirals must retire after 38 years of service unless promoted or reappointed, and all flag officers must retire the month after their 64th birthday. The Secretary of Defense may defer a vice admiral's retirement until age 66, while the President may extend it to age 68. Since there is a fixed number of 3-star positions, an officer must leave their post before another can be promoted. Admiral. Admiral is a 4-star flag officer rank, ranking above Vice Admiral and below Fleet Admiral. Since the 5-star rank of Fleet Admiral has not been used since 1946, Admiral is the highest active duty rank in the Navy. The total number of active duty admirals in the Navy is capped at 6. By law, the Chief of Naval Operations and Vice Chief of Naval Operations are always admirals. Appointments to the rank of admiral are temporary. Officers may only achieve 4-star rank if assigned to roles that require it, and their rank expires when their term of office ends. Admirals are nominated by the President from eligible officers holding the rank of Rear Admiral lower half or above, typically under the recommendation of the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Navy, or the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Most 4-star positions have a standard 3-year tour, though some, like the Chief of Naval Operations, serve a fixed 4-year term, and the Director of Naval Nuclear Propulsion serves for a nominal 8-year term. By law, admirals must retire after 40 years of service unless reappointed. Because 4-star positions are limited, a new admiral is usually appointed only when an incumbent leaves office. Fleet Admiral. Fleet Admiral is a 5-star flag officer rank, ranking above admiral. It is the highest rank in the Navy and is uniquely rewarded with active duty pay for life. The rank was established during World War II to ensure US naval officers had equivalent status to 5-star officers of Allied nations. Although it remains an authorized rank, no officer currently holds the title. Only 4 officers have ever held the rank of Fleet Admiral: William D. Leahy, Ernest J. King, Chester W. Nimitz, and William Halsey Jr. While all 4 effectively retired in the late 1940s, their rank was held for life, with Nimitz being the last surviving Fleet Admiral until his death in 1966. Before the establishment of the Fleet Admiral rank, the Navy briefly used the title Admiral of the Navy, which was granted exclusively to George Dewey in recognition of his victory at Manila Bay in 1898. The title was retired upon his death in 1917, leaving no official 5-star rank in the Navy until World War II. While the possibility of awarding a 5-star rank still exists, no naval officer has been promoted to Fleet Admiral since Halsey, and no new legislation has been passed to authorize further appointment. Seaman Recruit. Seaman Recruit is the very first rank for enlisted members in the US Coast Guard, just below Seaman Apprentice. It used to be called Seaman Third Class. This rank has 2 pay levels, one for those who have served less than 4 months and a slightly higher one for those who have served longer, even if they haven't been promoted yet. Everyone at this rank is called a Seaman Recruit, no matter what job they do. Seaman Apprentice. Seaman Apprentice is the next rank above Seaman Recruit and just below Seaman. It was once called Seaman Second Class. In the Coast Guard, people at this level don't wear special marks to show their job specialty like they do in the Navy. If a Seaman Apprentice finishes training for a certain job, called a rating, and is accepted into it, they are called a designated striker. If they haven't been assigned a rating yet, they are called undesignated or non-rates. Seaman. Seaman is the 3rd enlisted rank in the Coast Guard, higher than Seaman Apprentice and lower than Petty Officer Third Class. It used to be called Seaman First Class. People at this rank work in areas like ship operations, technical jobs, weapons, or office tasks. In the Navy, E3s have different titles depending on their job, but in the Coast Guard, they're usually all called seamen. If they've trained for and earned a rating, they're designated strikers. If not, they're still non-rates. Petty Officer, Third Class. Petty Officer, Third Classes. The first rank where someone becomes a non-commissioned officer, meaning they start taking on more responsibility and leadership. They are called by their job title, like Yeoman Third Class. They're also allowed to do law enforcement and customs duties. To stay in the Coast Guard, they usually have to get promoted to E5 within 8 years, or they may have to leave, according to a rule called high year tenure. Getting promoted to this rank isn't automatic. It depends on how well they do in their job, test scores, and whether there are openings. Some jobs offer automatic promotion once training and service time are complete. Petty Officer Second Class. After being promoted from Petty Officer Third Class, a Petty Officer Second Class takes on more responsibility. They balance technical proficiency with early-stage leadership. They are expected to grow as leaders, improve their technical skills, and continue learning their chosen job specialty. They are also allowed to enforce maritime law and work as federal customs officers. Petty officers at this level must keep improving. They have 14 years to qualify for the next promotion. If they don't move up in that time, they will also be required to leave the Coast Guard due to high year tenure. Petty Officer First Class. This rank marks a shift from learning to leading. Petty Officers First Class are seasoned specialists and emerging leaders expected to take charge, manage responsibilities, and keep advancing. They can access college-level education through Coast Guard programs and continue serving as law enforcement officials. Staying in the game means earning the next promotion within 20 years, or facing mandatory separation. Chief Petty Officer. Earning the anchor insignia is a milestone. It means you've joined the Chiefs. These veterans mentor junior crew members, run training programs, and support officers fresh out of officer candidate school. Their expertise isn't just technical, they're organisational leaders, often stationed aboard cutters or leading shore units. Chiefs must promote again within 24 years or retire under high year tenure. Senior Chief Petty Officer. Think of this rank as Chief Plus, all the mentorship, technical mastery and leadership, but on a broader scale. Senior chiefs don't just lead teams, they often oversee entire departments and help shape unit policy. They're trusted with bigger roles in administration and strategy and are expected to lead both by knowledge and by example. Master Chief Petty Officer. Masters are the pinnacle of enlisted professionalism. With decades of experience, they're the go-to authorities in their specialties. Whether running a Coast Guard station or captaining a patrol boat, these leaders command respect. Promotion from here isn't automatic. It involves selection for elite leadership paths like the Command Master Chief program. Command Fleet Master Chief Petty Officer. These Master Chiefs serve as the senior enlisted advisors to unit commanders. They're not just seasoned professionals, they're the voice of the enlisted force. Their job? To relay concerns from the deck plates to top leadership and make sure sailors' welfare, morale and readiness stay on point. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard. This is the top enlisted position in the Coast Guard. The Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard is appointed by the Commandant of the Coast Guard and represents every enlisted member across the entire service, advising the Commandant directly. By protocol, they are equal to a Vice Admiral. They help shape Coast Guard-wide policies. Their presence ensures the rank and file are heard at the highest levels of leadership. Warrant Officers. Warrant officers are technical experts who rank above enlisted members but below commissioned officers. They bring specialised knowledge and serve as key leaders in their fields. To become a Chief Warrant Officer too, one must serve at least 8 years as a non-commissioned officer and show strong expertise in a specific area. Chief Warrant Officer 3 and Chief Warrant Officer 4 are mid and senior level ranks, earned over time through continued performance. Warrant officers at these levels can apply to become commissioned officers through the Warrant to Lieutenant program. Ensign. Ensigns are brand new commissioned officers taking their first steps into leadership. Though the Coast Guard doesn't formally split officers into specialties, ensigns still follow different paths: shipboard operations, aviation, marine safety, and more. Typically assigned as division officers, they lead small teams of enlisted personnel in areas like navigation, engineering, or weapons systems. At the same time, they're undergoing intensive on-the-job training from senior officers and experienced petty officers. Ensigns commit to a minimum of 3 years of active service. Lieutenant, junior grade. About 18 months after commissioning, most ensigns are promoted to lieutenant, junior grade, a transitional rank that bridges the gap between entry-level leadership and more advanced responsibility. They often remain in division officer roles, now with greater independence and deeper technical expectations. They serve on cutters, at air stations, or within command staff. Lieutenant. Lieutenants are established officers with several years of experience under their belt. Typically promoted from lieutenant junior grade after around 2 years, often leading entire departments or managing important parts of a ship or base. Whether they're in charge of navigation on a cutter or running a section on land, they're expected to lead with confidence, solve problems, and help train younger officers and crew. Lieutenant Commander. This is a mid-level rank where officers go from helping lead teams to actually being in charge of whole units. Lieutenant commanders might run smaller ships, lead air crews, or manage important programs and officers. By this point, they've been in the Coast Guard for a while and are trusted to both lead and make sure missions go smoothly while following Coast Guard rules and goals. Commander. Commanders are senior officers who often run large units, like big ships, air stations, or entire departments on shore. They've usually been in service for around 15 to 17 years. Even though their official rank is commander, if they're in charge of a ship, people usually call them captain out of tradition. At this level, they're not just leading teams, they're making big decisions that affect entire operations. Captain. Captains are among the top officers in the Coast Guard. They command the biggest ships, manage whole Coast Guard sectors, or lead major air stations. Some are also in charge of marine safety and law enforcement in ports across the country. Captains have a lot on their shoulders, managing people, budgets, safety, and mission success all at once. It's one of the highest leadership roles before entering the admiral ranks. Rear Admiral, lower half. This is the first admiral rank in the Coast Guard, marked by 1 star. Officers at this level move beyond day-to-day leadership and step into big-picture roles. They might run large areas, called districts, lead specialised divisions like cybersecurity, or represent the Coast Guard in national and international meetings. To get this rank, an officer must be chosen by the President and approved by the Senate. Rear Admiral, upper half. This is the next level up, a 2-star admiral. These leaders are in charge of some of the biggest parts of the Coast Guard. They might also oversee an entire region of the US, lead major missions like marine safety, or manage areas like equipment, people, or training across the whole service. Rear Admirals also work closely with other government and military agencies during big national events or emergencies. Vice Admiral. Vice Admirals are 3-star flag officers who serve just below the Commandant of the Coast Guard. With only a handful of these positions available at any given time, they're reserved for the most distinguished leaders in the service. Nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate, Vice Admirals typically command entire mission areas, oversee Coast Guard operations nationwide, or serve as Chief of Staff. Their careers span decades, and their retirement is closely regulated due to the limited nature of the role. Admiral. Admiral is the highest rank in the US Coast Guard, a 4-star officer who serves as the Commandant of the Coast Guard, the top leader of the entire service. This person is in charge of everything: Coast Guard missions, policies, ships, planes, people, and operations across the country and around the world. The Admiral reports directly to the President and is chosen by the President and approved by the Senate. There's no higher active rank in the Coast Guard. While the Navy once had a 5-star Fleet Admiral rank, the Coast Guard does not and hasn't used anything above Admiral. Airman Basic. Airman Basic are the lowest enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force, with no rank insignia and serving as the entry-level position for new enlistees. Airman Basic responsibilities include completing basic training, adapting to military customs and courtesies, maintaining professional and physical standards, and acquiring technical skills. Airman Basics spend significant time in training and shadowing experienced personnel. Basic pay is not available after 2 years, as basic combat training does not extend beyond this period. When the Air Force separated from the Army in 1947, its lowest rank was Private. In 1952, it was renamed Basic Airman, and in 1959, it became Airman Basic. An Airman Basic is typically promoted to Airman after 6 months of active duty if they have enlisted for at least 4 years. However, some enlistees can be promoted immediately upon completing basic training if they meet certain qualifications, such as completing at least 2 years of junior ROTC in high school, earning the Eagle Scout rank from the Boy Scouts, or the Gold Award from the Girl Scouts, or obtaining 20 college semester credit hours. Those eligible for early promotion wear their single Airman insignia stripe during the basic training graduation ceremony at Lackland Air Force Base and receive retroactive pay for the Airman rank upon completion of training. If they fail to complete basic training and are discharged, they do not receive the additional pay. Airman. The rank of Airman is the second lowest enlisted rank, positioned above Airman Basic and below Airman First Class. Historically, the Air Force used ranks such as Airman Second Class and Airman Third Class, with the current E2 rank of Airman being called Airman Third Class from 1952 to 1967. Airmen are responsible for adjusting to military life, mastering Air Force customs and courtesies, and developing proficiency in their designated specialties. Upon leaving basic training, all airmen enter training at Air Force schools in their specialties, depending on their aptitudes and interests and the needs of the Air Force. The length of training varies, with some programs lasting a year or more. Due to the small stripe in their insignia, airmen are often nicknamed Mosquito Wings. Airman First Class, the third enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force. Historically used by the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard, the rank is now exclusive to the Air Force. Established on April 24, 1952, as an E4 rank, it was reclassified to E3 on June 3, 1967, as part of an enlisted rank revision. Before this, the E3 rank was called Air Force Corporal, renamed Airman Second Class, and finally called Airman First Class in 1967. Promotion typically occurs after 10 months as an airman, but early advancement is possible for those who have completed junior ROTC, college ROTC, earned the Billy Mitchell Award, obtained at least 45 college credits, or committed to a 6-year enlistment. Those promoted upon completing basic training receive retroactive E3 pay, while 6-year enlistees get promoted after 20 weeks or upon finishing technical training. Many 6-year enlistees qualify for highly technical specialties such as electronics, weapons systems, or medical roles, spending up to 2 years in training before serving an additional 4 years. Senior Airman, the fourth enlisted rank in the U.S. Air Force, above Airman First Class and below Staff Sergeant, with a pay grade of E4. Established on December 30, 1975, and implemented on June 1, 1976, it initially coexisted with Sergeant until the rank was eliminated on April 1, 1991. The last Sergeant left the Air Force on March 23, 1998, making the Air Force and Space Force the only U.S. military branches without an E4 NCO rank. Promotion to Senior Airman requires 36 months' time in service and 20 months' time in grade, or 28 months' time in grade, whichever comes first. Up to 15% of top airmen first class may be promoted 6 months early through Below the Zone, a competitive program that allows exceptional airmen and officers to be promoted early to the next rank. Senior airmen develop leadership skills and may supervise lower-ranking airmen, but are not considered NCOs. Before promotion to Staff Sergeant, they must complete the 6-week Airman Leadership School. Those with 3 to 6 years of service may attend ALS for leadership training. Staff Sergeant. Staff Sergeant is the first non-commissioned officer rank in the U.S. Air Force, positioned above senior airmen. Staff Sergeants are considered craftsmen, responsible for both technical expertise and supervisory duties. They may hold either a 5-level journeyman or 7-level craftsman skill designation and must continuously develop as technicians and leaders. Promotion to Staff Sergeant requires 3 years of time in service and 6 months of time in grade. Candidates must also achieve a 5-skill level, compete in the weighted airman promotion system, and complete Airman Leadership School before assuming the rank. On average, active duty airmen take over 4 years to reach Staff Sergeant. Technical Sergeant. The second non-commissioned officer rank in the U.S. Air Force, above Staff Sergeant and below Master Sergeant. Technical sergeants perform highly complex technical duties while also supervising and ensuring the career development of subordinates. They are responsible for providing the tools, training, and support needed to maximize performance and mission effectiveness. Promotion to Technical Sergeant requires 5 years of time in service and 23 months of time in grade. Candidates must also achieve a 7-skill level and compete in the weighted airman promotion system. The average active duty time to promotion is 12 years. Master Sergeant. The 7th enlisted grade in the United States Air Force, ranking above Technical Sergeant and below Senior Master Sergeant. This promotion is a significant milestone, marking an airman's transition from technical and supervisory roles to operational leadership within the senior non-commissioned officer tier. At this rank, airmen develop broad leadership, supervisory, and managerial skills, shifting their focus from technical performance to organizational leadership. According to Air Force Instruction 362618, Master Sergeants serve in key leadership roles such as squadron superintendents, flight chiefs, section chiefs, and non-commissioned officers in charge. First Sergeant. In the United States Air Force, the First Sergeant is a special duty temporary rank and a positional billet rather than a permanent promotion. Often called the First Shirt or simply Shirt, the First Sergeant is responsible for the morale, welfare, and conduct of all enlisted members in a squadron and serves as the chief advisor to the squadron commander on enlisted force matters. This role is held by senior enlisted personnel in the ranks of Master Sergeant, Senior Master Sergeant, or Chief Master Sergeant, E7 through E9. First Sergeants are distinguished by a lozenge, a diamond, insignia on their rank chevrons. Most First Sergeants are Master Sergeants, while larger units may assign Senior Master Sergeants or Chief Master Sergeants to the role. Although First Sergeant is not a separate rank, those who serve in this position are considered senior to their non-diamond counterparts. Senior Master Sergeant, the second highest enlisted rank in the United States Air Force, with a pay grade of E8, ranking above Master Sergeant and below Chief Master Sergeant. Senior Master Sergeants serve as operational leaders, overseeing mission execution, personnel development, and unit effectiveness while mentoring junior enlisted and commissioned officers. Promotion is highly competitive, with fewer than 10% of eligible Master Sergeants selected each year through a central board evaluation. Candidates typically have broad leadership experience, a degree in their specialty, completion of the Senior Non-Commissioned Officer Correspondence course, and an endorsement from a senior rater. Under Public Law 107-107, only 2.5% of active duty enlisted personnel may hold this rank. Chief Master Sergeant, the 9th and highest enlisted rank in the United States Air Force, with a pay grade of E9. Attaining this rank is the pinnacle of an enlisted Air Force career. All Chief Master Sergeants are expected to serve as mentors for non-commissioned officers and junior enlisted members. Promotion to Chief Master Sergeant is highly selective, as federal law limits the rank to 1.25% of the total enlisted force. Chief Master Sergeants often take on specialized leadership roles. These roles include First Sergeant, Group Senior Enlisted Leader, Squadron Senior Enlisted Leader, Wing Weapons Manager, and Command Chief Master Sergeant. Command Chief Master Sergeant. The Command Chief Master Sergeant is both a rank and a leadership position. It was created in November 1998 to replace the previous senior enlisted advisor roles held by Chief Master Sergeants. These command chiefs serve as top enlisted advisors to commanders at important levels, such as wings, numbered air forces, field agencies, and major commands. In joint military commands, Air Force chiefs selected as senior enlisted advisors by the Department of Defense are also called command chiefs. Their main job is to advise commanders on enlisted personnel matters, including mission readiness, training, morale, career development, and overall quality of life for enlisted members. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force is a distinctive non-commissioned rank in the United States Air Force, held by the highest-ranking enlisted leader, unless an enlisted airman serves as the senior enlisted advisor to the chairman. Appointed by the Air Force Chief of Staff, they guide the enlisted corps and advocates for their interests to the American public and all levels of government when appropriate. The Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force holds a special pay grade above E9. The current 20th Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, David A. Frce, assumed the role on March 8, 2024. Warrant Officer. Although Title 10 of the U.S. Code allowed the Secretary of the Air Force to appoint warrant officers, the Air Force has not used these ranks since 1959, when it began phasing them out. The last active duty warrant officer, Chief Warrant Officer 4 James H. Long, retired in 1980, and the last Air Force Reserve Warrant Officer, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Bob Barrow, retired in 1992. Upon his retirement, Barrow was honorarily promoted to Chief Warrant Officer 5, the only Air Force member to hold this rank. While warrant officer grades remained legally authorized, they were unused until 2024. On December 6, 2024, 30 airmen graduated as the first Air Force warrant officers since 1992, earning the ranks of Warrant Officer 1 or Chief Warrant Officer 2. Second Lieutenant. A second lieutenant is the lowest commissioned officer rank in the United States Air Force. Officers rarely stay at this rank long before promotion, and those commissioned from the enlisted ranks or college graduates may skip it entirely. Second lieutenants often serve as flight commanders or assistant flight commanders, overseeing units that vary in size. They may also hold administrative roles at the squadron, group, or occasionally wing level, particularly in personnel, maintenance, or security forces. Those selected for rated training, such as pilots, combat systems officers, remotely piloted aircraft officers, or air battle managers, spend much of their time in training, with no command responsibilities until they complete their programs. First Lieutenant. A first lieutenant is the second lowest officer rank. Promotion to first lieutenant in the Air Force follows Department of Defense policies, typically occurring after 24 months of service as a second lieutenant. First lieutenants often serve as flight commanders or officers in charge, overseeing up to 100 personnel, depending on their career field. In flying units, first lieutenants are typically rated officers focused on flight duties. Captain. A captain is typically promoted after 4 years of service. Captains are expected to be seasoned leaders capable of managing large flights and preparing for administrative or group-level responsibilities. In operations groups, senior captains usually serve as flight commanders, while junior captains often focus more on flying and hold minor leadership roles. In maintenance, logistics, and force support squadrons, captains almost always serve as flight commanders, directly overseeing enlisted personnel. Captains are expected to be senior leaders whom enlisted airmen can approach for guidance. Major. Majors serve as senior staff officers at the squadron and wing level, shifting from hands-on leadership to strategic and administrative roles. In flying squadrons, majors often serve as flight commanders or assistant directors of operations. In mission support and maintenance groups, they may occasionally take on squadron command roles. In the medical corps, a major might lead a clinic or flight. Majors are expected to be more involved in the administrative operations of their units. While flying unit majors may continue as flight commanders or move into director of operations roles, those in non-flying units, such as maintenance or logistics, may become squadron commanders. Lieutenant Colonel. A lieutenant colonel typically serves as a squadron commander in the operations, mission support, maintenance, or medical groups. In flying units, a lieutenant colonel may first serve as a director of operations before assuming squadron command. In maintenance, mission support, or medical groups, they often take on deputy commander roles before moving into command positions. Beyond squadron leadership, lieutenant colonels may serve on general staff or lead wing staff departments. Senior lieutenant colonels may also serve as group commanders, particularly in the Air Force Reserve Command and Air National Guard, where the role is more common. Colonel. A colonel typically commands a wing of 1,000 to 4,000 airmen, supported by a vice commander, 4 group commanders, each also a colonel, and a chief master sergeant serving as the command chief. Colonels also hold leadership roles at directorate and division levels within the Secretariat, Air Staff, Major Commands, and Numbered Air Forces. Approximately 50% of lieutenant colonels are promoted to colonel. By law, colonels must have at least 22 years of service and a minimum of 3 years as a lieutenant colonel. Brigadier General. A brigadier general is a senior officer and the first general officer rank, signified by a single silver star. This rank is awarded to career officers who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, strategic vision, and operational expertise. Brigadier generals typically command large wings, oversee major operational units, or serve in high-level staff positions at the Pentagon, joint bases, or organizations like the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Their responsibilities include managing large teams, overseeing strategic planning, directing tactical operations, and ensuring proper allocation of resources. Major General. A Major General is a 2-star general officer, ranking above Brigadier General and below Lieutenant General. During peacetime, it is the highest permanent rank. By law, no more than 25% of the Air Force's active duty general officers may hold a rank higher than 2 stars, and some of these positions are reserved by statute. Most major generals serve as deputies or senior staff members within major and joint commands. However, some may also command smaller numbered air forces. Lieutenant General. An Air Force Lieutenant General is a 3-star general officer who typically commands a large numbered air force composed of multiple wings or a smaller major command, such as the Air Force Special Operations Command or the Air Force Reserve Command. In addition to command roles, lieutenant generals from all military branches serve as high-level staff officers at major command headquarters and the Pentagon, often leading key departments. Lieutenant generals in the United States Air Force are appointed by the President from among brigadier generals or higher, with assistance from the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The nominee must also receive a majority vote from the Senate before being confirmed. General. A general in the United States Air Force is tied to specific positions, making the rank temporary. A general holds the active rank only for the duration of their assigned office, which is typically set by statute. However, upon retirement, if they have met satisfactory service requirements, they are usually allowed to retain the 4-star rank instead of reverting to a lower position. They typically lead major commands or unified commands and hold some of the highest positions in the Department of Defense. The Chief of Staff of the Air Force is a 4-star general, as are other top leaders in key operational and strategic roles. Generals are nominated by the President from eligible officers holding the rank of Brigadier General or higher, with input from the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Air Force, and, when applicable, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The General of the Air Force. The General of the Air Force is a 5-star general officer rank and the highest possible rank in the United States Air Force. This rank has only been held by General Henry H. Arnold, who led the United States Army Air Forces during World War II. At the time of his promotion on December 21, 1944, the Air Force was still part of the Army, and he was given the 5-star rank of General of the Army. When the U.S. Air Force became an independent branch on September 18, 1947, Arnold retained his 5-star status. On May 7, 1949, under Public Law 81-58, His title was officially changed to General of the Air Force, making him the only airman to hold a 5-star rank and the only officer in U.S. military history to hold 2 different 5-star ranks. While no other officer has been promoted to General of the Air Force considers it an active rank. Specialist 1. As of 2020, new members of the U.S. Space Force have attended and graduated from Air Force basic training as part of the Air Force. And upon transitioning, they received the rank of Specialist, officially designated as Specialist 1. On February 1, 2021, the Space Force formally established the Specialist rank for enlisted personnel at pay grades E1 through E4, replacing the Air Force's Airman Basic designation at the E1 level. Specialist 1 Guardians, whether transitioning from the Air Force or entering directly into the Space Force, must complete the same basic training as other new recruits. As the lowest enlisted rank in the Space Force, Specialist 1 personnel focus on completing basic military training and initial technical training for their assigned specialty. Specialist 2. Being a Specialist 2 in the U.S. Space Force signifies a commitment to military culture and the mastery of one's occupational specialty, particularly in space systems operations. Following graduation from Air Force basic training, Guardians entering the Space Force must complete specialized education in this field. The rank of Specialist 2 replaced the Air Force's Airman designation, and promotion to this level is typically automatic, provided the service member meets the required standards of performance and conduct, with the primary promotion criteria being 6 months of time in grade and time in service. As they progress, Specialists 2 are expected to adapt fully to military life and develop proficiency in their assigned roles within the Space Force. Specialist 3. Guardians at the Specialist 3 level are considered to have fully transitioned into the Space Force and military life, with responsibilities focused on executing their assignments efficiently while continuing to develop their professional skills. At this stage, they are expected to perform routine tasks and gain expertise in space systems operations. Promotion from Specialist 2 to Specialist 3 requires a minimum of 10 months of time in grade. Specialist 4. Space Force Specialist 4 Guardians are expected to uphold professional standards, serving as positive role models for their subordinates and peers. As a mid-tier enlisted rank, Specialist 4 marks a transition from journeyman to non-commissioned officer, with increasing responsibilities in leadership and technical expertise. Managers rely on these Guardians to continue their education and demonstrate the competence, integrity, and pride necessary for future leadership roles. Promotion from Specialist 3 to Specialist 4 in the Space Force requires either 28 months of time in grade or 36 months of time in service with 20 months time in grade. Sergeant. On February 1, 2021, the United States Space Force established the rank of Sergeant for the pay grade E5, replacing the Air Force's Staff Sergeant designation. This change aligned the Space Force's E5 rank structure with that of the Army and Marine Corps, where sergeants hold the grade of E5. As the first level of the non-commissioned officer ranks in the Space Force, sergeants are expected to be at least a Level 5, journeyman, or Level 7, craftsman, in their specialty and actively refine their technical and leadership abilities. Sergeants hold supervisory responsibilities and are required to develop their expertise in both technical and managerial roles. This rank typically requires significant experience, with the average active duty time to achieve it being nearly 4 years. Technical Sergeant. The Technical Sergeant is the second level of the non-commissioned officer ranks in the Space Force. Technical sergeants play a critical role in the career development of their subordinates, ensuring they have the necessary tools, training, and support to achieve peak performance and mission success. Promotion to Technical Sergeant in the Space Force follows similar requirements to that of Staff Sergeant, with a minimum of 5 years of time in service, 23 months of time in grade, and the attainment of a 7-skill level. Master Sergeant. The Master Sergeant is a senior non-commissioned officer rank in the United States Space Force. Master Sergeants possess advanced technical expertise and leadership responsibilities, overseeing operations and mentoring subordinates. Promotion requires a 7-skill level, at least 8 years of service, and 24 months in grade. The promotion process mirrors that of the Air Force, with an average time to reach this rank exceeding 17 years. Senior Master Sergeant. The Senior Master Sergeant serves as a superintendent or manager with significant leadership responsibilities. Promotion is highly competitive, with only 2% of the enlisted force allowed to reach E8. Eligibility requires at least 11 years of service and 20 months in grade. The promotion process mirrors the Air Force, using weighted airman promotion system points and a central evaluation board. This board assesses candidates on competence, leadership, performance, experience, achievements, and education. The typical time in service for promotion exceeds 20 years. Chief Master Sergeant. Chief Master Sergeant is the second highest enlisted rank in the Space Force. Chief Master Sergeants serve as senior enlisted leaders in management, leadership, and advisory roles. Their Chief Enlisted Manager designation allows them to serve in any managerial capacity. Promotion is highly competitive, with only 1% of active duty personnel reaching E9. Achieving this rank typically requires over 22 years of service. Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force. The Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force is the highest enlisted position in the Space Force, serving as the senior advisor to the Chief of Space Operations and the Secretary of the Air Force. Appointed by the Chief of Space Operations, this role holds a special pay grade above Chief Master Sergeant and requires at least 22 years of service, including 3 years as a Chief Master Sergeant. The position advocates for enlisted personnel, advising on welfare, readiness, morale, and professional development. Originally titled Senior Enlisted Advisor of the Space Force, it was renamed on February 1, 2021. The first to hold this role, Chief Master Sergeant Roger A. Tauberman, was sworn in on April 3, 2020, after serving as the Senior Enlisted Leader of U.S. Space Command. Second Lieutenant. Second Lieutenant is an entry-level officer rank in the Space Force, typically held by graduates of the Air Force Academy, ROTC, direct commissions, or Officer Candidate School. They serve as flight leaders or project managers, gaining experience in space operations and satellite systems. Most remain in this rank for at least 24 months before becoming eligible for promotion to First Lieutenant. First Lieutenant. First Lieutenants have similar responsibilities to Second Lieutenants, but with greater leadership roles and higher pay. They lead small teams, manage specialized projects, and may still be completing technical training. After 24 months in grade, they become eligible for promotion to Captain. Typically, they have served for at least 2 years, demonstrating competence in their initial assignments and gaining experience in space operations. Captain. Captains oversee larger teams and critical projects. They play a key role in space mission planning and execution, often working closely with both military and civilian space agencies. Captains typically earn their promotion after 4 years of service and generally hold the rank for at least 2 years before becoming eligible for further advancement. Major. In the Space Force, field grade officer ranks start at Major. At the Major level, officers are responsible for managing and supervising others, typically operating at the squadron or wing level. Majors serve as key staff officers for brigade-sized forces. They often work as senior project managers and unit commanders, playing a vital role in strategic planning and mission execution. All majors are required to pursue a master's degree or higher to graduate. Lieutenant Colonel. Lieutenant colonels command units or hold key staff positions, developing operational strategies and ensuring mission success. These officers assist the colonel in carrying out their duties. Their responsibilities include missile defense, battle space awareness, technical intelligence analysis, and space acquisition policy. Colonel. Colonels in the Space Force hold some of the highest leadership positions, often commanding entire bases, leading Space Force deltas, or serving as senior staff officers. Colonels play a key role in shaping Space Force strategy. The Colonel's office focuses on improving base efficiency and quality of life. Colonels oversee training facilities and may command up to 4,000 military personnel. Brigadier General. Brigadier generals oversee large military installations and senior personnel at the Pentagon and other key organizations. They handle leadership and administrative duties, participate in morale-boosting activities, and ensure operational effectiveness. The promotion process for generals starts with a group of senior officers selecting potential candidates and ends with the President making the final decision. Generals must retire after 30 years of service or 5 years at the rank of Brigadier General. Major General. Major generals provide critical leadership in advancing space capabilities, coordinating with other military branches and government agencies, and driving innovation within the Space Force. As a 2-star rank, the promotion process to Major General is similar to that of Brigadier General, involving a selection by a board of general officers and final appointment by the President. Lieutenant General. Lieutenant Generals oversee major installations and outposts, playing a key role in leadership, morale, and strategic direction for their troops. Appointed by the President from the existing pool of Air Force general officers, their rank is temporary and removed upon the completion of their term. General. The rank of General is the highest in the Space Force, reserved for the most experienced and capable leaders. These 4-star officers hold critical positions, such as the Chief of Space Operations, and hold top leadership positions at the Pentagon and other key institutions. After the Space Force was established, General John W. Raymond, then the commander of Air Force Space Command, was appointed as the first Chief of Space Operations. He became the first official member of the new service and its first general officer. In the Space Force, there is no rank above general.